Hello there, welcome to our preview. Looking ahead to Huddersfield Town against Bolton Wanderers, BBC Radio Leeds, West Yorkshire Sport on 774am and DAB tomorrow from 2. I'm Katherine Hannah, Paul Ogden, our town commentator alongside me. Team selection is going to be fascinating tomorrow. After the win away at Charlton, Ishmael Miller started, Wells on the bench. Do you see a repeat of that tomorrow?
Anything could happen in the team selection, never mind what happens on the field, Katherine. It would be fairly unthinkable for Nahki Wells not to start in many ways, but that was also the case on Tuesday. In the time that elapsed between the publication of the team sheet and kick-off itself, there were some amazing panic signals coming from all over Huddersfield Town support. There were people calling it a self-sacking team sheet and all sorts. And given the mood in the camp before we arrived at Charlton on Tuesday night, that is perhaps understandable in some quarters because form wasn't great. But surely we should credit Chris Powell for another very original team selection. I was taken back to Wolverhampton Wanderers away last year when Connor Cody scored his lovely curling goal. Harry Bunn scored another volley that night, and he completely flummoxed the opposition, did Chris Powell, with a very radical, ambitious team selection. And he's not frightened of upsetting people if needs must. So to answer your question, open-mindedness at all times. I wouldn't expect the exact same team, and I think Town are going to need something to get past Bolton's big men at the back. But I'm warning you, there's still a stopping job to be done. Stop Davis going forward. Stop, maybe even Emil Heskey might make the team sheet tomorrow. So I'm not going to try and predict what Chris Powell picks.
No, he keeps us all guessing, that's for sure. I mean, potentially injury-wise, Emma Hughes got his start but then had to go off injured. There's still a couple of questions over Hogg as well, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the truth is, Katherine, that Emma Hughes wasn't really injured. It's just that most parts of his body were seizing up after 40 minutes because he's just not played that much. He made a fantastic contribution and a beautiful goal. But when you're playing at the intense level that the Championship now demands, again, Chris Powell did the right thing to change, though it shocked us. We couldn't really explain at the time why Emma Hughes had been taken off. But he had something up his sleeve again, and it worked just because there was a lot of defending to do in the second half at Charlton. I'm not 100% convinced that Emma Hughes will start tomorrow, but there'll definitely be a place for him as long as the reaction to that shift he did hasn't been too severe. Hogg might be fit. It might be a time for Kyle Dempsey, on which more tomorrow before kick-off, because Dempsey looked the part, so did Philip Billing, and suddenly he's got options in the midfield department despite injuries and question marks.
The key thing is going to be, though, to deliver a comprehensive attacking home performance. It's all very well doing it away from home. Brilliant first 3 points of the season away at Charlton, but the hometown fans really want something to get excited about. He's going to have to deliver that, isn't he?
He is. Now, whether that means play two strikers and whether it means start on the front foot, as he picked the phrase last week ahead of Cardiff, didn't really happen, but Town did have some good moments. It's the domination that you're talking about. And we did see Town dominate in the early stages against Charlton. They sat a bit deep in the second half for that. But the intensity with which they took Charlton on was really refreshing. It's just that they didn't really do it with an out-and-out strike approach, an out-and-out two-up strike force. They did it down the flanks with Carroll's pace and Scannell's innovation and even Jason Davidson overlapping at times. Ishmael Miller was still really asked to carry the can, even in that early phase. Home fans want double, triple strike force. Yes, there is scope for that, but if it leaves the back door open or leaves gaps in midfield, you're going to be in trouble against a Bolton side that includes Stephen Davis, amongst others. So I'm still not sure it's going to be Wells and Miller, but there is a lot of scope, a lot of argument in that favour. But if Chris Powell has got the same radical ideas that he has, maybe the deployment of Scannell down the right and Carroll on home debut, full debut for the first time, that surely is enough to get us out of our seats in the early stages.
You do have to think, though, that if Huddersfield are going to make an impression this season, a home game against a Bolton side who've had a really tough start to the season as well. They're without their talisman. Zach Clough was injured, so he's not going to be involved. These are the sorts of games at home that they really could do with winning.
Our Huddersfield Town fans have been starved of sustained success for quite a long time now. Home form wasn't great last season as a whole. And although there have been one or two good moments, the second half against Brighton and one or two other things, I mean, QPR at home wasn't bad. But consistent, persistent, sustained success at home is something we've been dreaming of and not had delivered really for a long time. We've got 2 home games now on the bounce against Bolton and Nottingham Forest. No reason why you shouldn't be optimistic about both of those. And although Chris Powell won't isolate this emotion and deliver it to us in his pre-match interviews, I'm telling you now, he is yearning to satisfy the home fans who talk to him at the training ground, who talk to him in the gym, at the supermarket. People bump into him and say, please, Chris, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? He wants to. It's just that needs must, and he's very careful about not leaving that back door open too much. So the usual rules apply with Huddersfield Town and Chris Powell's slightly cautious approach, but he will feel a lot more confident about going on the front foot early on against Bolton than he has done recently.
Hopefully then back-to-back wins for Huddersfield Town this weekend. Join me, Oggy, Kieran O'Regan, our expert summariser, from 2 o'clock, West Yorkshire Sport on BBC Radio Leeds. All the build-up to Huddersfield Town against Bolton Wanderers, 7/7 4am and DAB Digital Radio. See you at 2 o'clock.